Fifth and sixth grade, we are going to go ahead and have our 7th weekly meeting. This week, we're going to be talking about Red Ribbon Week. Red Ribbon Week was actually 2 weeks ago, but because of our ice storm and then also later on because of our Champions of Hope Awards, we're going to actually be doing the lesson this week. For this lesson, we are going to be going through a program called Natural High. And what it does is it actually talks about different coping skills that people have that they utilize rather than doing drugs. Because whenever we talk about staying away from drugs and choosing to be drug-free, basically what we're talking about is having effective ways to cope whenever you are in the red zone, yellow zone, or blue zone. Okay? So in other words, what are things that you do whenever you are in those 3 zones to get back to the green zone? Okay, that are healthy for you other than drugs. So to start, we're going to go ahead and start with a video by John. I think his name is John Sunt, and he actually started Natural High, and he's going to go through and talk to you about why he started the program and exactly what it entails. And you will have to be patient with me. I am using another system today, so we'll kind of see where I'm using Loom again, so we'll kind of see how this looks.
Yeah, Steve and Eric, they had dreams. They were good athletes. They loved the outdoors. They loved the ocean, and they were smart. They were loving life when we were growing up. They were just on a good path. Just really enjoying life, and they got sidetracked. They listened to some friends that turned out not to be very good friends, and they got them into drugs. And they thought drugs were cool. They thought drugs would lead to something that they didn't have. They thought they'd try to fit in and kick it up a notch by doing drugs.
I remember running up my grandma's driveway to see him, and he would always be coming up from the garage, and he would greet me with a big hug, and I just remember how much I loved him.
Yeah, in high school, when Steve got addicted, he thought he could experiment and get away with it, and he got addicted, and I knew this was going to be a rough road. I remember seeing Steve when he came home, and he just looked like a ghost. He was a big boy. He was 200 pounds, 6'3", and to see him at 83 pounds, it's like slowly watching my brother die. To see both my brothers addicted on drugs was just heavy. We came from having a normal family to just being out of control. I didn't see him very much. They wouldn't come home for dinner. It was just all of a sudden the 3 musketeers we used to call ourselves wasn't the same. I remember sitting down with Steven and telling him if he didn't stop, he was going to die.
He had seizures and was lying on the floor. And then I knew that this addiction would kill him.
I got a call in the middle of the night by a sheriff.
I remember the day that he was gone. I was running up the stairs to see him, and he didn't come up from the garage.
He was alone and got some more cocaine, and his heart couldn't take any more of it. He collapsed.
Fell to my knees and started crying. I couldn't believe that my little brother was gone. Just couldn't believe it.
I looked at my grandma, and she had her face in her hands, and he was gone. I was mad. I was angry. And mostly at him. I was mad that he had left me for drugs, basically.
Stephen left behind a little girl. Stephen left behind a 5-year-old girl. I mean, drugs were so powerful. His daughter was more important to him than anything.
The drugs overpowered his love for me.
Eric, he started smoking pot, which is a gateway drug, and it led to worse drugs. And he ended up taking some pretty strong drugs, and he ended up getting a full-blown depression, and he couldn't think straight. And Eric spent 8 years in a mental institution. drugs changed Eric forever, and he was never the same. And when he got out, the poor young man was half the person he was when he went in, and couldn't pull it together.
He decided he wanted to get rid of the pain he was in. And so he went over to the Coronado Bridge and jumped.
My mom called me and she said she thinks that Eric jumped off the bridge, and a short time later I found out that he did. My name is John Sant. I'm from La Jolla, California, and the reason I produced this video and started the Natural High series is I lost my 2 little brothers to drugs. My motivation for this video is to teach every kid to get a natural high and choose a natural high over drugs.
Okay, so in the video we just watched, we actually watched the founder of Natural High, and he talked about his reasons. He actually lost 2 younger siblings to drug use. So right now what we're going to do is we're going to actually watch 2 videos of different celebrities who talk about the replacement activities they do rather than doing drugs, the things that they do to get a natural high rather than participating in drug use. The first one is from Bethany Hamilton, and the second one is from Queen Harrison. Bethany Hamilton is actually a surfer out of Hawaii, and then Queen Harrison is actually an Olympic track star.
The first time I heard about Natural High, I was instantly in love with the idea of encouraging our young people in living their lives naturally high, and it's always been a huge part of my life, is just staying clean and chasing the things I love to do that are just good and healthy. Ever since I lost my arm, and initially I really looked at life as that I was thankful to be alive, and ever since then I always look for things to be thankful for. So when the challenges come my way, I'm hunting for the things that are good and that I can celebrate and keep my head up.
I love Bethany because she works very hard, she perseveres, and she never lets anything get in her way.
I think there's so many fun things in the world to just enjoy and that are beautiful and good. And for me, surfing and being active and different hobbies like tennis and skateboarding and just playing on the beach with my family, all these things keep me so stoked and high on life and high on the good things that the world has to offer.
I like Bethany because she's very inspirational and she goes to her goals and always achieves it.
I like Bethany because she's so passionate about her dreams and she's really real.
If you're thinking of doing drugs and alcohol, here's what I'd say to you. For me, surfing is the most amazing, natural, beautiful high, and it keeps you coming back for more and more. But surfing brings you up. Drugs and alcohol bring you down and take you away from things that matter in life, and they're dangerous. So I think find that thing like surfing or skateboarding or track running, something that's going to get you stoked and keep you positive and going in a good direction.
My natural highs are surfing, hanging with friends, family, living a healthy lifestyle, and just smiling.
I'm Queen Harrison from Richmond, Virginia, and competing is my natural high. I come from a huge family of competitors. That's how that became my natural high, to be a competitor. You're just around it all the time. It just becomes a part of you. I used to be a basketball player before I was a hurdler like I am now. Basically, I started getting into track and field because I was born in New York and my family moved to Virginia. And when I moved down to middle school, I didn't know anyone. Everybody else had their elementary school friends and stuff. And I said, well, how can I meet a lot of people at one time? So I joined the track team initially just to make friends and get to know people in a foreign place. And it was probably the best decision I ever made in my life. My main goal was to obtain a full scholarship to a university. And I started that game plan in the 10th grade when I quit basketball and when I decided to put all my energy into track and field. So I set that goal for myself in 10th grade. Now, there were hiccups, there were ups and downs, but I think as soon as you put a goal in your head and you speak it, I say you speak things 3 times. Okay, full ride, full ride, full ride. Okay, everything I'm doing is just going to make me go toward me getting a full scholarship. By setting that goal at a young age, it allowed me to navigate around the distractions that could present themselves in high school, i.e. alcohol or drugs. My dad actually struggled with some issues with that. He was a veteran from the Vietnam War, and when he came home, he struggled with PTSD. Basically, he was just kind of always on edge and get flashbacks of being out there on the battlefield, and those types of things you don't want to bring home with you. He got into a system of being able to mask it with alcohol and things, and just seeing how that affected him, and it just never was an option for me. I realized that no matter how bad the feelings are, the emotions are, it's so much better to feel them than to try to numb them and not feel them. And once I came to that conclusion, I knew drugs and alcohol was never an option for me, because all that will do is numb the pain or, give you a temporary feeling of being better. And then as soon as it wears off, what do you do next? You got to do it again. You know what I mean? It's just never been an option for me. I always had a lot of hustle and a lot of fight in me, because I always wanted to win, whether I was the best or not. So once you put a goal in your head and realize that doing alcohol or drugs is only going to take you away from that goal, it makes it so much easier to annihilate those things out of your life. Think about what you like to do. What brings you joy? What makes you laugh? What makes you have fun? Whether it's singing, whether it's competing and running the hurdle. And think about how that makes you feel. Okay, so why do you need to supplement that? Why would you need to try to attain that if you can legitimately go out there and sing or go out there and compete and get that feeling? For anybody to be successful, I think it's a direct reflection of who you surround yourself with. Put your blinders on to those negative people and don't allow them into your circle. And my number one circle is always my family, my sisters. We're so tight-knit. I cannot talk about it enough. Those are my best friends from today to tomorrow to the end, because they have my back no matter what. By starting with that foundation as my circle of friends and role models, and I see how they handle ups and downs. We just have to be like-minded on how we approach drugs and alcohol and realize that they're not for us, and at the same time, be very different in personality so that I can grow from each person. Winning the Bowerman was a huge accomplishment for me. It's a fairly new award, but it means so much because people reference it to as like the Heisman of track and field. So for me to win that in 2010, it was a proud moment for me, but even more a proud moment for my parents. When I made it to the Olympics when I was 19 back in 2008, I had a totally different mindset when I went to the track than I do now. I went and I think I was so overwhelmed. Like, I'm in the Olympics, all these people are here, and all these people are watching on television. Okay, make or break, what are you going to do? I think about it as every time I step on the track, especially with the 100 hurdles, it's the same 100 meters, it's the same 10 hurdles, no matter whether I'm at my practice track here or I'm at an Olympic stadium in Rome. It's always the same. I just approach every race as, one, I look at it as a final. So I look at it to compete and be the best competitor that I can be. But at the same time, I look at it to have fun and enjoy what I do. Because, if you're not enjoying what you do every day, it won't last as long as you want it to. My name is Queen Harrison, and competing is my natural high. What's yours?
Okay, so the two videos we just watched, they actually went through and they were athletes and they talked about what were things that they did to get that natural high rather than getting a temporary high off of drugs. Okay, we had Bethany Hamilton, who was actually a surfer, and she talked about growing up in Hawaii and kind of using surfing as her outlet. And then we also had Queen Harrison, who was actually an Olympic track runner, and she talked about her goals and how it was really important for her to keep her body healthy so that she could reach those goals. At this time, you guys are each going to get a fortune teller. And they're those paper things that you fold up. The girls will know what I mean. You guys are going to get those. And what you're going to do is you are going to actually create a coping skills fortune teller. So let me get to it on my computer here. Okay, this is what we're talking about right here. You guys are actually going to get this emotion catcher coping strategy fortune tellers. And what you're going to do is you're going to cut out along the dotted lines and you're going to take each zone. For example, the blue zone. And you're going to, in here where it says I feel, describe a blue zone feeling, or you can either draw it or write about it. Then you're going to write out what you can do to make yourself feel better to get back to the green zone. So you're going to do that for each of the zones. So when you get to the green zone, you're going to write out, I feel, what it feels like to be in the green zone. And then you're going to go through and you're going to write, how do you stay in the green zone? Okay. So that is what you are going to go ahead and do for this week's activity. Teachers, if you have any questions, let me know. And I will see you guys next week for week 8, I believe, right before Thanksgiving. Okay, you guys have a great week.